What do HR professionals, marketing professionals, and software engineers all have in common? Well, they all may be struggling to find work in 2023. According to Indeed, these three job sectors saw the biggest dip in job postings over the last year. Joining us today to share what jobs will be most in demand in 2023 is local staffing expert Jason Wachtel with J.W. Michaels and Company. Good morning to you. Nice to have you on.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Our pleasure. What do you think overall the 2023 job market is going to look like?
Well, we're coming off 2022, where it was a historic job market. But what's been very interesting, specifically for Chicago, you had a lot of IT professionals, a lot of companies in Chicago looking to hire IT professionals that had a very difficult time hiring because they were being outbid by Amazon, Facebook, and Google. So you had a lot of these openings for the engineers that you mentioned previously, but Chicago firms weren't able to hire them. So I believe in Chicago, you're going to see a lot of hiring being done in the areas that local firms couldn't compete in because they were just outbid by the big tech companies that are obviously laying off at this time.
Okay, you're talking IT, but what jobs are going to be in demand in general in the new year? Because I think you have three that you wanted to talk about.
Yes, so in Chicago, we think, as was pointed out, is accounting and hospitality specifically. No matter what's going on, you always need accounting professionals to help work for you. Most companies are still thriving, and they need to have a strong back office to really help accelerate that growth and obviously deal with that growth. And hospitality, you have a lot of people that are still going on vacation. COVID really didn't allow anybody to go anywhere. So, hospitality has been hot and will remain hot, not just in Chicago, but across the country.
And finally, you have gig work on that as well.
Yes, so those professionals always will be in demand. I think what you're going to see is, especially in the first quarter, you'll see a lot of those workers that might have had a little struggle during the Christmas break start to really heat up in the employment areas.
Okay, so let's talk about people who have positions that are currently trying to find jobs and aren't having so much luck. What industries do you think are people going to have the hardest time in finding jobs?
This is a very interesting time of year. You had the holidays where everybody was on vacation. Then you have the first 2 weeks of January where job hiring is still slow. So I think you have the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a tremendous surge of hiring. Hiring managers are back on vacation. The only area that I see really being impacted negatively is big tech. You're seeing all these big firms laying off: Salesforce, Amazon, Apple, Google. But that's okay, because in Chicago, all these people who were in those industries weren't able to get jobs, and you're going to see a lot of Chicago companies that weren't able to hire just due to economics are going to be in a really good position to hire great talent. So if you're looking for a job currently, just wait for the next few weeks. You should start to see a lot of interest in your resume, whether it's online or using a recruiter.
Yeah, you also had mortgage professionals on there. Why them specifically?
Well, mortgage professionals are really going to have a challenging time. I think Wells Fargo, which is the largest mortgage company in the world, has decided that they're going to be sort of stepping back a little bit. Obviously, with higher interest rates, you have less people refinancing. So that area, I do think, might be a little bit challenging until the Fed starts to cut rates, because a lot of people are not going for the mortgages. They can't afford the houses that they could afford 6 months ago when interest rates were half the price.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so what advice do you have for people who are looking for jobs in the new year? We keep hearing there are a lot of jobs out there. I keep talking to people who are saying, new college graduates, that they're still having a hard time. So what advice do you have for them?
The job market remains very strong. It remains really strong pre-COVID. You just have to get through the next few weeks when hiring managers are back from vacation, where companies are figuring out their agenda. So I think, as always, use a recruiter, go through job boards, but just have a little patience, because it's going to be a very strong market. Maybe previously you might have 5 openings for every resume that was sent. There might be less than that. But I do believe that if you be diligent, you get your resume out, you network, the first quarter should be very strong for people looking for employment.
One more question then for you. For people who are waiting, you brought up a point I think it's good to drive home, that people are coming back from vacation. So is this now a good time? Are employers looking for people now that the new year has started to get set for the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think you're going to see, well, at least what we're seeing at JW Michaels, you're going to see this week specifically, people are back from vacation. They're figuring out their budgets. People have quit jobs and moved on. So I expect, and it's always the case, the next few weeks to a month, you're going to see a huge influx of new jobs. You're going to see candidates who maybe applied to jobs online that didn't hear anything over Christmas break. Now, all of a sudden, everybody's back to work, focusing on hiring, focusing on the first quarter. So you should start to see really good activity over the next few weeks.
That is good news. Jason, thank you so much. The word for everybody out there who's looking, hang in there. It's going to happen. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.